Hey guys, it's Andy from Hilborn Fuel Injection here, and today I'm going to do another quick tutorial on setting up some butterflies, and this is kind of an update to my original manifold adjustment video, which, by the way, I want to thank everybody for watching and of course all the likes. But I still get calls. There's still some confusion on the actual setting up of the linkage when it comes to setting geometry, and there's a common mistake that everybody makes, and I want to go over that today and maybe go through a little bit more of each step of the hex link adjustment. But before we get started, let's go back and talk about some of the setup that we need to do as far as centering the butterflies and releasing linkage and what have you. So remember, in the video we first spoke about backing off all your throttle stops. Make sure that they're not touching, even touching the casting in any way. And you might want to double check that, because sometimes it does happen. And if it does, give me a call and we can talk about how to modify that if you're having issues, especially if you're doing a conversion or something of the sort. The next thing, of course, is we want to make sure that the butterflies or at least the linkage here is loose and the butterflies operate independently side to side. And of course, the next part of that procedure would be loosening up all the butterfly screws, centering the butterflies in the bore, making sure they drop down all the way, and sometimes a good tap you can hear if the butterflies are seated all the way after you're done centering the butterflies. And once again, you can go back and reference the other video on that procedure that I talked about. So now once we've done all that, we've got everything centered, dropped, fully closed, because this is a geometry adjustment. We have to start from the fully closed position when we go to measure geometry. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start setting the geometry of this hex link, or I'm sorry, this gold arm right here. And this geometry is really kind of important too. We want this gold arm to swing on either side of center. And as you can see right now, we have what I call bad geometry. So we're starting here, possibly we'll call this the 7 o'clock position, but we swing all the way over here to about the 4 o'clock position. We kind of want this to swing on either side of center. So I'm going to go ahead and make a quick adjustment here. And I'm going to eyeball this to try and get this to either side of center. You can now see that we're swinging on either side of center. See how nice that geometry is? And what would happen is at half throttle, this gold arm will be at the 6 o'clock position. Wide open throttle, of course, will now be the, I guess we'll call that the 4 o'clock position. And then, of course, the 8 o'clock position right here. So that's very nice. And once that's done, we're going to lock down this gold arm. We're going to lock it down. We are no longer going to use this gold arm as part of our adjustment process. And I'll get into more of that in just a second here. Okay. All right, so now that we have that down nice and tight, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the initial length of the hex link. Now, on this V6 injector, which is one piece, that'll already be primarily set when you get it from us. But a lot of our injectors are 3 pieces, like the big block Chevrolet, even some of the older Chrysler, old Hemi models will have multi-piece manifolds. And so we can't set that to fit your exact application. But it's very simple. You're going to open the throttle about halfway, or get this gold arm to drop down about the 6 o'clock position, and I'm very simply going to do an initial base adjustment there. So this gold arm is also about the 6 o'clock position, and that's our starting position. And the closer we get that, the closer we will be to our finalized adjustment. Now, you'll notice we are still operating independently on the butterflies. Okay. So once we set that initial position, we're ready to start measuring our arc. And if you don't already have one, the nice thing about this V6 is I've got the hex link out front. It gives us plenty of room. It's great for the video, but most of the time this hex link is situated in the center of the manifold, and it can be a pain in the neck to get to. So if you don't already have one, get yourself a T-handle with a ball end. It really makes it easier to get in there compared to this. And we're going to snug this up. You don't have to get too crazy with it right now, but just give it a nice snug. In the last video, I used this very simple set of tooling. It's just some 5/16 shaft material. I used a throttle arm. Kind of keeps everything from falling into the motor. These work great, but now a lot of our injector manifolds are multi-sized for the butterfly holes. So for example, like this big block Chevrolet here, you know, we've got a smaller bore compared to the actual outside dimension of the throat. So as you can see, there's lots of slop here with this arrangement, this original arrangement that I was using. But now we've made a very simple tool set which anybody can make, all right, which allows us to use the top of the injector as a place to rest this 1/4 inch piece of aluminum. and then a perpendicular rod that comes down, and you can see how much nicer that is. And so here we'll be using that again today. The key point with something like this is that you want to make sure that it doesn't ride anywhere in the bore. If these arms are too long, it may ride inside the bore and not allow it to come across and ride sit real nicely on the actual bore of the injector itself. So another key point about using any type of gauging material is that we want to have this gauging material in the center of the butterfly. If it's offset, the butterfly, as you can see, as I move it towards the center, the butterfly is allowed to close. So we want to find that center point, so that way the butterflies are fully closed up against this gauging material. So I'm going to insert this gauging material on the other side here. Okay, I'm going to supply a little pressure down. Now as you can see, it's really close, and that's what happens when you spend the time to get that hex link real close. But let's go back, and I'm going to make this worse, so we're going to go ahead. So for the sake of this video, I went ahead and offset this hex link a little bit, drop the butterflies down to the fully closed position, okay, and now I'm going to reinstall my gauging material. So that way we can really see what it looks like when it's off. Just gives us a better idea. And you do want to supply a little bit of pressure on the on this piece of aluminum here. That way we know it's completely sitting on top of the casting. But as you can see now, very easy to identify that your butterflies are off. And this really isn't all that bad, quite frankly. But like I said, you can see that it's off. And this is what we're trying to fix. Here is the common mistake. The common mistake is now people will adjust the hex link to fit the gauging material, and that's not how it works. And here is how it's supposed to work, okay? You remove the gauging material from the injector manifold. We're not even going to adjust the hex link with the gauging material in there, okay? We're going to make a hex link length adjustment. The question is what direction do we need to do, adjust the hex link? Do we lengthen it or do we shorten it? And frankly, for the sake of this video, we're not going to even get into that. We're just going to make a hex link length change. The whole idea, though, is you want to keep a mental record or even write it down what you're going to do. In this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and shorten the hex link about a full turn. The key part is remember, geometry starts from the butterflies at the fully closed position. So I'm going to loosen the gold arm. Now remember, we've already locked this gold arm down. We're not going to use this as part of the hex link length adjustment. So I'm going to loosen this gold arm, okay, which is going to allow me to drop this butterfly down. You might have just seen it move just a little bit. I'm going to tighten it back up. And then I'm going to reinstall my gauging material. Now, I knew it was loose on this side. I made a mental note of how loose it was. And I'm going to go back and reperform this operation. Once again, I'm going to make sure that my gauging material is in the center of the butterfly. I'll move my arm over here so you can see it. And as you can see, it made it better. Okay? So by shortening the hex link, I made it better. But I still have wobble on this side. So I'm going to remove the gauging material. I'm going to shorten the hex link another turn. I'm going to drop the butterflies down in a fully closed position. Make sure they're both closed. I'm going to tighten it up. You may have noticed I've left the hex link loose because I'm doing what I'll call bulk adjustment. And there's no sense in tightening it up because I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going the right way. And I've already identified I'm going the right way. And you'll know that you're not, because if you paid attention to how loose it was on this right side, if you go the wrong way, it will be looser than the original check with the gauging material. But now you can really see I'm starting to get really close. See how nice that is? It barely moves. But you can still hear it, it's moving. So that means I'm going to make another adjustment. This time I'm going to continue shortening, but I'm going to go just like 2 flats. But now I'm getting close enough where I really need to start locking down. and snugging up these jam nuts. Left hand thread has the notch, keep that in mind. Okay, remember, got to drop the butterflies down before we put our gauging material in. That's wonderful. Now let's reinstall the gauging material. Remember, center of the butterfly. Really, really close, okay? And so we can keep adjusting that hex link a couple flats at a time until we get it just right. Now, there may come a point where you've gone too far. In other words, you've gone too far on the hex link, okay? And this is what will happen. And I'm just going to over adjust it here real quick and not worry about it. Tightening up the jam nuts will drop the butterflies down. And what will happen is you will now have a scenario where the gauging material swaps sides. So in this case, this is all centered up. And now this side is loose. Okay? No big deal. That just means you went too far. You'll see the side is loose. It just means you went too far. So you need to back up the hex link and go the other way. Once again, the key is you make a hex link length change. Okay? In this case, I'm going to tighten it back up again. I'm going to snug up these nuts just a tickle, make sure I'm close. You make a hex link length change. You drop the butterflies and reinstall the gauging material. You do not, once again, you do not set the hex link to fit the gauging material. If you do that, you will never get it right. So let's see if we're getting closer here. But I think by now you get an idea as to what's going on. The whole idea is to get this, see, there you go. I'm making sure that my gauging material is centered in the butterflies. I got a little bit of pressure on it. And now this side feels pretty good. See that? There's actually no slop there. Fantastic. And when you do this for the final time and you should really do this when the manifold is cold, especially if it's a multi-piece unit. But when you do it for the final time, when it's hot, now your arc will be set correctly, your part throttle will be wonderful, and we can start getting into doing the actual synchrometer use, which I detail in the other video. So really there it is. I just wanted to go over that quick technique. Once again, if you guys have any questions, contact numbers in the comments or below the video. Call us anytime. But there it is. So thanks for watching.